Should be going live.
Yep.
Do you say action?
Hey, everybody. How you doing? This is Trevor with HB Productions. I just want to make sure if we've got any friends on there out there on Facebook, let us hear from you. I want to make sure we're up and running. I'd love to hear from you on YouTube as well. So this is our weekly happy hour series, and we're really happy to have you guys with us. Hope everybody's enjoying a beer this evening, or maybe you've already had a couple with Governor Beshear. So we affectionately have called this Beers After Beshear, Thirsty Thursday. We're just glad to grab a beer and have you join us for the night. So first off, just want to remind everybody we've got our Crowler catering services up and running. So we have some limited release growlers and gourmet foods just in time for Derby. We've got a chocolate pecan bourbon pie. We have a limited amount of those left, so please jump on HBProductionsLLC.com and grab those. If you order them today or tomorrow, you can still get them in time for Derby. So coming up this Saturday, we're going to talk more about this later, but make sure you check out the No Derby, No Problem virtual beer fest that is happening online. And we'll talk to Derek with the KGB about that as it comes up. That's supported breweries, and we're really excited to be a part of that. And then starting next week, so we're coming back next week. We're actually going to be hosting some online trivia next week. So get your teams together. We're going to have some prizes. You'll be able to talk to your teams in private rooms and answer your questions privately, and then we'll all come together and score the points, give away prizes, and enjoy some beers. So look for that coming up on Facebook here really soon. All right, so to kick off today, we've got two guests with us. We're really excited to have Derek, the Executive Director of the Kentucky Guild of Brewers, Sam Cruz of Against the Grain, one of the founders of that awesome brewery that sort of really turned the global brewing scene on its head not too long ago. So we're excited to talk to those guys. So, Derek, let's just start with this. First off, what's everybody drinking today?
Well, you know,
I've got a beer.
I've got a Flatter Sam and going with a Citra Ash Down because it is the lowest ABV beer I have from ATG in my house right now.
Did you get that for free?
I paid for it, baby.
I got the tiniest little A beer, but it's in a KGB taster glass. So.
I'm doing Rico. We have I don't know, maybe 10 cases left, and this is it for a while. So if you're going to get it, but I got it.
That's awesome. So Derek, let's start. Tell us about the No Derby, No Problem Beer Fest. How much are tickets? Where do I get the tickets? Looks like we've got 24 breweries participating last I checked. So please tell us about it.
Absolutely. So we were trying to figure out, we are living in a weird time right now. And one of the things that breweries do really well is create a space of community. And with Derby being postponed until at least September, we wanted to take the opportunity to at least try and invite people in to the breweries and kind of get what everybody's experience is, and even do some tastings. One of the tastings is Against the Grain. They're going to be sampling Citra Ass Down. Sam's going to be talking to us about kind of the genesis of that beer, talking about some tasting notes, all that kind of good stuff. But really what it is it's going to be a lot of 5 to 8 minutes, basically ask me anything with the breweries, doing tours of the breweries from Eastern Kentucky to Western Kentucky, Louisville, Lexington, Northern Kentucky, and just trying to give people an insight into how we are dealing with the pandemic currently, how we're keeping our patron saints, but also how we are trying to keep them served as well. Tickets are $5. We do have some limited edition t-shirts. I think we have 70 left out of the 200. And they can get them at kygbrewers.org on our website.
Do you have 3XL?
Sam, we can talk offline about this, but right now we just have.
I don't have it. I knew it.
They run big. and they don't shrink. You're gonna be fine.
Okay.
You're slimmer
All
than
right.
you think. It's okay.
Every time, every single time.
Well, and that $20, it gets you the shirt, which a T-shirt is worth $20 anyway. But it goes back to the KGB to support the Kentucky Guild of Brewers, right? The mission that you do to change beer laws, to advocate for all your local breweries, make sure everybody's on the same page.
Well, and what's been really crazy over the last 6 weeks is I've learned more acronyms than I would care to ever think about, whether it's PPP, IDL, the working with the Small Business Administration. We have been really trying to be kind of the conduit to the breweries about this is what's available. These are kind of the changing laws. These are the things that you are going to have to be dealing with. And so what we've really tried to do is help them and their staff navigate kind of this incredibly rapidly changing. And, one of the things that we've been doing is in contact with the Beshear administration and trying to talk about reopening. What is it going to look like when tap rooms reopen, and what are the rules going to be? And, making sure that our breweries are really clear on what they're going to do, because as we all know, the new normal is far from the old normal. And so we want to be able to be the voice that kind of helps them plan ahead to make sure that when we're ready to open, they're doing it, and they're doing it in a manner that is safe for both their employees and for all of you wonderful people that is coming in to buy the beer.
And we don't want to sacrifice that quality of beer either. So for Saturday, with the virtual beer fest, you can go to any of your local breweries, buy up some Kentucky beer, make sure you get online, have a little taster glass, and be ready to answer questions or ask questions and be engaged.
Absolutely. We even put out a tasting guide today about some of the beer styles that people are going to be trying, and some ones that they can kind of get that are more readily available if they're not able to obviously make it to Hopkinsville and Ludlow and Louisville and Richmond. So we wanted to make sure that they have some different beers that will be available to them no matter where you live.
That's fantastic. It's exciting. It's going to be different. And there's a derby hat contest. So
yes. So the wonderful people at the Post are sponsoring a derby hat contest. So during the event, if you post to and tag the post, actually, Tish, I'm gonna let you explain this one because you do it so much better than I do. I even screwed up the Facebook post the first time I did it.
All right. So if you create a hat, it's all about craft beer. It's all about getting crafty. I'm sure you have tape, scissors, duct tape, whatever at home, beer stickers, whatever it may be. Get creative. The Post is going to judge, but you post your picture into the event, tag the Post. It's Louisville Post. So Post Pizza, they make some of the best pizzas. They're located in Germantown. Laura and Nash and their whole staff. They've been open through all this, and they're coming out to support us for the KGB Beer Fest. So make a hat, post a picture, bonus picture. I believe if you have a Kentucky beer in your hand, one of these, I think that gives you a few bonus points. So I know I was talking to Liz with West 6. She's putting together some kind of can hat. So construction paper, solo cups, whatever it may be.
That sounds dangerous.
Dildos.
Hey,
on brand.
I apologize, guys. Our Facebook feed went down for a few minutes, so if I look distracted, I was getting that back online. So we're up and running again. So
yeah,
very amateur hour over here right now, but we're getting through it.
Technical difficulties. All right. Anything else, Derek, you want to add in about the KGB Beer Fest?
The biggest thing is I just want to say thank you to all of our supporters. As we've pivoted to go and delivery sales, it has been amazing just to see the reaction and the amount of people, and I'm sure Sam can talk about this even more, about people that are just coming out to support the breweries and buying directly from them. It has been absolutely amazing, and I just want to say thank you so much for your support.
Yeah, we love our people that love great beer, and that's why we're here. So, well, are we ready to turn it over to Sam? Trevor, do you think so?
Is anybody ready to turn it over to Sam? And that's a loaded question. The third one.
All right,
Sam, thanks so much for joining us. So you and you've got some partners at Against the Grain, and you guys have bootstrapped this thing from the beginning and worked really hard. I know you guys are passionate about the beers and the food you're putting out. So yeah, tell us a little bit about how you got into it and where this all came from.
Before I do that, hey, Elizabeth Vale and Ronnie Leanne Carrier, just saying hi. Hi, recognize they're out there. Okay, Trevor, you would know how we got here. Trevor's one of my longest standing beer friends. My partners and I, three of us are brewers by trade. We started out as craft brewers, and we were really, I'm going to toot my own horn here. We were really fucking good at what we were doing. I mean, we make good beer, and I know that. I'm pretty damn sure the whole world knows that. But we thought, well, we'll try our hand at business, and we wanted to open our own place. Realistically, I hate to say it, and I don't hate to say it. The reason why we did it was because we felt Louisville beer at that time was boring as fuck. So I know 10 years ago. So
I think a lot of people would agree with you.
Yeah. So we decided we would go out and give it a try. It was hard and difficult, and we had to listen to a lot of people that knew a lot about beer and a lot about business and a lot about the industry in general. And we were able with good investment, good business sense, good business partners, good business advice to open up against the grain at Slugger Field. But I have to say that was not the place of choice. We actually fell ass backwards into that spot. I don't know if anyone knows out there, but we were really interested in that spot in the corner of Grinstead and Bardstown Road, where the mattress place is, Fat Lamb and all that stuff. Unfortunately, we couldn't get a hold of that, so we really, with dumb luck, fell into the place at Slugger Field. A new Shariat was trying to get out, and we were trying to get in, so we were able to kind of essentially flip his business to us. We took it over, and it was turnkey. I don't want to spend too much time on that story, but fast forward several years, and we have opened up distribution nationally and internationally, and traveled the world, and kind of garnered some fame as brewers. I wouldn't say by any stretch we're at the top of the tier, but people know who we are. In any case, that's also opened doors for us to do international business, and we've been distributed in probably 30 or 40 countries throughout the world, and brewed beers over there. In fact, this week, right now, it may have been today, 7 or 8 years ago, I brewed at Amager Bregus in Denmark, and what a time that was. That was good. So it's pretty crazy. We've done that, and then we recently opened up a brew pub in Ishigaki, Okinawa, Japan, with a partner over there, and that's operating as well. Now, it is a brew pub, so the beers don't get distributed around there. It's just across the bar, but it's really very interesting to have Against the Grain operating over in Japan right now. I don't know that right now I feel like we're old news, but sometimes I realize that we're not at all. We just we're an 8-year-old brewery or 10 or 9-year-old brewery, and just doing what we do. I love making beer,
Yeah. So you love making beer. How'd you get started in that? Was it college? What was your inspiration?
Well, and this is probably going to come across the wrong way. So whenever I was 11 years old, 11 years old, a friend of mine, Eric Allen, we went into his mother's pantry, the kitchen, and stole out of the refrigerator. We stole two Old Milwaukee beers, and then stole 2 Misty cigarettes. And we went around to the side of the house, and we lit the cigarettes. Yeah, and we started smoking them. And I absolutely, to this day, I do not smoke cigarettes. I think they're disgusting. But I had the smoke, and then we cracked the beer. He took a drink of his beer, and he said, "Oh, this is terrible." And so I took a drink, and I'm going to tell you right now, I fell in love. Whew, I was like, "Oh, what is this? I'll take yours. You can have my cigarette. I'll take your beer." So at 11 years old, I fell in love with beer. And from that time, we would steal whose ever parents were loose with the beer. We'd steal their beer and drink it. Well, fast forward, I was 17 years old, and I had a neighbor who was a really good friend of mine. He was also my boss at the state park I worked at. And I would go to his house and just go shoot the shit with him. I kind of idolized the guy. He was in college, and I was getting ready to go to college. And he was homebrewing in his garage. So I go in there, and I actually was going over there to smoke out. To be honest with you, we smoked weed together all the time. I went over there, and I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm making beer." And I said, "You can make it? You can make this?" And immediately I said, "Teach me," So he kind of taught me a little bit about it, and I took the wheel and I started brewing beer in my parents' basement. And they didn't. I told them what was going on, but they said they don't care. They didn't believe me, and so I made beer. It was terrible, and more often than not, it was more akin to like bad malt liquor. But it was beer, and I did that a lot. And then as I got into college, I started to have access to different beers because I was out of a small town. And I picked up a job at Bloomington Brewing Company as the guy who sweeps the floor and cleans there. And I learned from Floyd Rosenbaum, their brewer there. Graduated school, moved to Louisville afterwards. I got a job at a psych hospital. It was the only job I could get at the time. I worked at Our Lady of Peace.
Wow.
Whoa. Well, unfortunately and fortunately, I was successful there. And I at the time I thought, well, hell, I'll turn this into a career. And so I worked there for like 6 years. I ended up getting a certification in drug and alcohol counseling. Oddly enough, how ironic. But at a certain point, I realized, hey, I hate this. I hate this job. I got to get the hell out of here. So enter Gary Nagy, my now business partner and one of my great friends. I would always go aggravate him and bother him and try to get yeast from him to do home brews at home and buy grain from him and shit like that. Well, one day I finally, mustered up the courage to say, hey, you got a job? Is there something I can do here for money? And he said, oddly enough, I would let you clean kegs here.
Nice.
And I will let you earn minimum wage. And so I did. And from there, it kind of sparked a friendship and a professional trust in each other because I worked my way from guy sweeping the floor all the way to ultimately a head brewer of one of the other BBC pubs. And then I'd say the rest is history. We left BBC and opened up Against the Grain. So, yeah, I don't know, kind of funny, kind of fun, but I've been in love with beer my whole life.
That's fantastic. And, the true grit of working your way from sweeping the floors to being the owner and coming up with the recipes and international travel, sales, business plans, all that fun stuff. Mm-hmm. So we got a few questions from the audience. So we'll just jump into there. So we'll start with a little serious and then we'll get back to the fun stuff. So we want to know how has COVID-19 affected the percentage of ATG sales for distribution locally, nationally, internationally, and have you changed your business model to accommodate?
Yeah. Actually, the COVID-19 has kicked our ass, and I think that's pretty reasonable. From an on-premise perspective, and for those of you out there in the audience who wonder what on-premise is, that means at the bar, not at a liquor store or grocery store or something like that, but at the bar where you can buy it by the glass. Our on-premise sales disappeared overnight. When they shuttered restaurants and bars and things like that where people gather, well, obviously we lose it all. Well, that was about 50% of our distribution sales were on-premise. But then add to that, from my business's perspective, we have 2 physical locations that we have a bar at that we lost those sales as well. So that's a huge kick in the dick if we're looking at it that way, it hurts pretty bad. Does that change our business model? Yes. Yeah, actually, we realized pretty rapidly that in order to survive this, we had to really lean hard into what was possible with off-premise. We knew that there would be an uptick. If you look at the data, I mean, I have to say at this point in my career, I am a professional. I look at data, I'm looking at IRI and Nielsen to see what's going on. I'm talking to my colleagues out there and also working with our wholesalers, both locally and nationally. Immediately we realized we had to lean hard into what was possible with off-premise. And we did, we contacted our wholesalers and said, what can we do? Because you have to realize they're also losing half or more of their business depending on who they are. So you've got to make some promises and you've got to make some commitments to them. And we did that. And ultimately that gave us an uptick in our off-premise sales. We saw a spike in our canned packaged beer sales, specifically in grocery stores. Being in Kroger is a godsend, and grocery stores alike. That's helped out immensely. So we'll certainly work more towards that direction because we expect the world is going to be a lot different in terms of how people are going to get their beer and so on. I do believe we're going to see a pretty dramatic spike when things open up, but I think in the long run, at the end of the day, the off-premise is going to be a much stronger market for us. So we've leaned into that. But in addition to that, we realized that we were leaving a lot on the table by not offering the one-offs that we do in the pub or potentially at the public house in canned format so that people could take those away. So I will say this, in the coming weeks, you should expect to see more of those one-offs with that unique label. And I think we talked about doing maybe 40 case runs of some of these things that are pretty unique and getting those out. I would look for those soon. And that's something that we intend to do a lot more. We are eliminating our bottles almost completely. Once the bottles are gone, we won't do those again. However, we are wonderful brewers. We can produce damn near any beer. So it's going to be in a can.
Have you had any issues getting
You're taking your kegs that are at the kegs that you have sitting at Public House and at the Smokehouse, and you're putting them in.
We're allowing people to buy those by the growler. I just ordered a growler machine that I expect to take delivery of in a couple weeks or a week or something like that, and we'll start to liquidate that liquid as we get that machine. I don't want to send anything out in growlers. A long time ago, I gave up on glass, and I know there's a lot of people out there that are really, gung ho about glass. I just don't think it's a good vessel in the grand scheme of things. It's heavy, it's bulky, it's antiquated, it's overly expensive. It causes us to have to charge more for beer when we don't want to. I would rather stick with metal, cans and God forbid everyone hates plastic, but fuck, pet plastic might as well be glass. So that's one of the things we're doing. And then as far as the restaurants go, we shuttered our Smokehouse because that machine is so big and so expensive, and it's not wise to operate it if it can't operate as it was designed. And so we shifted our operations to the Public House, which was more designed for that area, for that type of business because of the population around it. There was just more population in that area, so we saw more business there. However, we're going to restart the Smokehouse. It'll be a little bit different. It's going to be really predicated on how things are downtown and how the stadium operates. We really have to build our business again in that location, and we're prepared to do that.
That's fantastic. Yeah, our next question was actually going to touch on that. So the Public House opened in November, around the holidays? October. Okay. Yeah. So it didn't even get a full 6 months doors open. And I know you did a nice homage to Everything Beer in Louisville at that location. So it'll be exciting when people can come back in and give it a try. But I know you're doing carry out from there. But Teresa wrote in. She was just asking about the Smokehouse being open for curbside.
It is now, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you guys have shifted to open the kitchen.
Yeah, we realize. So we have two food concepts operating. In terms of beer, all of the beer right now is being produced out of our Portland production location, and rightfully so, because that's operating. It's operating on a skeleton crew, but those guys are, I mean, they're truly fucking heroes down there. They love what they do, and they refuse to stop. It's crazy to have your brewing team say, okay, well, you don't have to pay us, but we don't have shit else to do, so we're going to come here and get to work. We were like, well, we have to pay you, so let's figure this out. We're just going to pay you and do what you do. But it came down to the leadership there. They're amazing. We are very lucky to have the brewing team that we have. So all of the beer is produced there, and they're also going around and rectifying any issues that we have in the other Smokehouse brewery as well as the Public House brewery. As far as the food concepts go, we decided that it would probably be wise to make some changes. Complexity in our menu was something that we really enjoyed, but we realized that it comes at a pretty significant cost. And if you don't have the business to justify it, it's not necessary, then you shouldn't do it. So we chose some things that we were good at, and we decided to go that direction. As far as the Public House goes, forward facing for the next however long, the menu is going to be very much that like smash burger, hamburger like concept. It's going to be burgers and wings and fries, essentially. Right. Things that whenever you're having a beer, you're down with. Yeah. And those are things that we realize if we focus in on, we can do very, very well. The Smokehouse is a smokehouse. I mean, we kicked around dropping the Smokehouse and going away from that and doing a pizzeria. God, Louisville needs another pizzeria, right? But we have so much invested, so much time and effort and energy and know-how invested into doing barbecue that we decided to truncate the concept down even further, go completely away from the complex type barbecue offerings and become very much a traditional barbecue joint where you come in, you get your proteins, you get a couple sides, and then beyond that, you're there to drink beer. I hate to say it, and I also don't hate to say it. I hated being a restaurateur to start. I love being a restaurateur now, but I also love being a bar owner, and I love the concept of a bar and gathering, and especially now after having, you don't know what you got till it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now that it's been gone, I love getting into a place where I can have beers with people and get a little wild. Maybe I love that. I want my brand to be synonymous with that. I think that's what we are. We like to have fun, so we're going to put our money in fun.
Yeah. So there's one question coming in from Facebook that I think we need to address quickly before we start any rumors. Eric writes in and says he missed the first part of the conversation. Is ATG moving away from tap beers and going fully to cans only? So we probably, if you could clarify that.
Yes, let me, first of all, I do know Sam Nugent. Sam Nugent and I used to roll breadsticks together at Pizza Express while I was in college.
Nice.
Yes, I do know him. He's awesome. He like skateboarded and shit. As far as the cans and going away from draft beer, no, like we make beer, and we have 3 breweries in Louisville. So, I don't want to can, 4 kegs of beer. That's not cost effective and it's foolish. So at the Public House, once we get it operating, the beers that are made there, and I might add, it won't all just be beer. We also are going to produce sake and potentially honeymead wine. We're looking, once we acquire those licenses, we've already started that process, but once we do, then we'll produce those things there as well. We'll do draft beer, like unique offerings there. And then the Smokehouse, we have to brew contingent on the audience that's going to be there and consume it, but we will brew there. I will say this, that brewery is antiquated and it has a lot of miles on it. So brewing more than a couple times a week is really not good for it. But we'll definitely have things there that are unique and we'll fill the taps. We're probably looking at maybe like 10 or 11 different beers being on there.
How many other
worry about it.
hockey producers are there in the state or even the country?
In Kentucky, I can't think of any. I went to a sake bar in North Carolina a couple years ago, and I loved it. And obviously, we have that connection with Japan. My partners and I are very interested in Japanese culture. I like sake. I've got a bottle in the fridge. It's cheap as shit, but it's good. I like it.
Very cool.
So we kind of touched on this already, so I'm going to modify this question. The original question was, can you tell us how ATG is different than local breweries in regards to distribution? Where are you currently distributed, and don't you have Japan? So we've established you have a brew pub in Japan, in Okinawa, and there's a nice Marine Corps base there. So,
and Karate Kid was in there.
What's that? Karate Kid? Nice.
Karate Kid was in there.
I've been to his apartment building in LA.
Nice.
Of course you have. So,
I think that a lot of people though may not know the breadth of your distribution. Like, you guys are in what, 42 or 44 states? How many countries are you in?
So right now we're one of the breweries that quietly contracted. Like we pulled our distribution in the last 2 years to just probably a handful, maybe 10 states.
Okay.
And we did that. It was by design. Prior to a couple years ago, we were distributed. It's interesting. It's weird. We were distributed as a brand that was distributed to distributors that would distribute. So add another layer, right?
Yeah.
And that's how we were shipped around. Well, we divorced ourselves from that contract and that process and started to reestablish relationships with distributors in each market, namely because it makes us more competitive, the pricing, but also it allows us to have a direct relationship with those distributors. And then I want to couple that with our relationship with Pabst. We 2 years ago, we entered into a sales and marketing partnership with Pabst Brewing Company to where they would sell and help us market our beer in different markets, including Kentucky. So that relationship it gave us perspective on how we could do things, how we could grow, and we felt like, well, we should kind of change some of our wholesale relationships to account for what's possible in the future. Now that relationship has matured to the point where we feel a whole lot more comfortable with what we're doing, and we're starting to add more states into the fold. I believe we're in 11 right now. We have distribution though all the way to Oregon. So we're sporadic throughout the U.S., Texas. We are not in Florida anymore. It's odd, but I would say about 11 or something like that. As far as international distribution goes, we haven't set anything out since the COVID issue happened. But prior to that, I want to say it was maybe 15 different countries that we were working in. It's a different world than it was even last year. I mean,
yeah.
We have to reestablish some of these relationships. And I think after this crisis that we've dealt with, we're probably going to see another shakeup to where, some of these wholesalers that we've worked with overseas don't exist anymore. So we'll have to find new ones and work with them. But Against the Grain is an international brand. We're committed to producing amazing beer, to representing Kentucky the way it should be. Kentucky is an amazing state for not only bourbon, not only horse racing and hospitality, but also great beer. I'm super proud of what we've done, but I'm also super proud of some of our colleagues that have come up in the last 5 years. It's been amazing. Some of these people are producing beers that are just out of this world, and they're like right by my house. It wasn't that way when I started. So, IPAs from Holsapple, come on, like they're amazing, And they just picked up a beer from Gallant Fox today that I'm going to drink later after this with Denise. So
I would mention Gallant Fox just opened their doors today for
it's
growlers.
So cool. It's a very cool spot. Yeah,
right there in Crescent Hill area. So if you guys haven't seen that place.
So we're distributed all over, and I would say in Kentucky, outside of Kentucky Ale, with Alltech, I don't know what they're called now. They change their name all the time.
Lexington Brewing.
Lexington Brewing Company, yeah. Outside of them, I would say we're probably the broadest distributed brewery that's ever existed in this state. We've been in every continent. Well, I'm sorry, not Antarctica, not yet. Well, Sergio took my beer there.
I was gonna say I've heard you taking your beer there.
Sergio took the brown note there.
I bet there's a sticker in Antarctica somewhere.
Yeah. But we've been in Africa, we've been in Europe, Eastern Europe, all the way to Western Europe, Western Europe, Eastern Europe, Asia, Australia, South America. There's really nowhere that our beer hasn't gone to, and we're going to continue to pursue that. I think that's the way our brand exists.
That's exciting. So
yeah, I mean, Kentucky's lucky that you guys are here and you started this and you really carved a path in Louisville and Kentucky, especially for some of the brewing that you've done. So well done, guys. But let's get to the fun questions, Tish.
I know. All the serious stuff. Well, so other than the old Smell Funky or the old Milwaukee at 11 years old with free cigarettes or something like that.
Misties. They were Misties.
Misties. Okay, Misties. Where they were this long, like
120.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did grow up in a small town, didn't you? So one of the things is what was your gateway beer? So outside of Old Milwaukee and your neighbor's homebrew, is there a beer when you were in college at IU?
Actually,
kind of your big,
It's kind of funny. So I would measure my beer life in experiences with the beer and also experiences with people with the beer. Like
exactly.
Like every beer is a good one, but some of them are better than others because of what happened. In college, man, I drank if we're talking about cheap ass beer, I drank the fuck out of Southpaw. But if I was drinking craft beer, I really crushed Pete's Wicked Ale.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Pete's Strawberry Blonde. Yeah. And also, listen, Pete of Pete's Wicked Ale, Pete Schlossberg. What an amazing guy. Like, I know him now. Holy shit. I told him, when I met him, I almost gave him a hug and said, look, I was hammered because of you, like so many times.
Yeah.
But he's been a mentor to my company, in a sense. So I drank a lot of that in college. Sam Adams Boston Ale, not lager, was one that was very formative for me. It was the first time that I was like, this is pretty crazy. This is some weird stuff. Upland Dragonfly was one of my first IPAs. Sierra Nevada Pale Ale was all that was available whenever I was really young. That's all I could get a hold of. And then there was another Oregon brewery called Monks or Mad Monks or some shit like that. And they had a pale ale, and I could get that. Now the me now probably wouldn't like it, but the me then, I thought it was pretty damn good. Those are like. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was asking Derek what was his first foray into craft beer.
So what totally changed my palate is when I was 22, I moved to Belgium for 6 months to go to college. Yeah. And it was actually in Louisville. It was actually when Stella was sold. They were sold while we were there. But my roommate and I printed off at the time, there was 1,457 different beers available in Belgium. And so what we did is we were on a mission for 6 months, getting as many of them as we could and checking it off. But yeah, it was crazy because when we would, I remember Star Wars came out at the time, and we all got, here they're called the Grand Reserves, Chimay Grand Reserves. Mm-hmm. They're the Chimay Blue. And we all just brought one of them into the theater, and all of a sudden as the credits rolled, you just heard pop, 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 as we all started them. So that was kind of what really blew my mind, was spending 6 months in Belgium when I was 22.
Well, and in Louisville, I don't know, was Cruz or De Cruz Brewery open then? Because
not at the time that I knew about.
Okay, so I know in Louisville, that is the world's yeast bank for all strains of beer from Belgium. So I got to go there a couple years ago and experience Louisville. It's pretty amazing. So
yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah.
One of the crazy things is they took us on a field trip. And it was to a monastery, and I don't remember which one it was, but literally they had a room that was about 10 yards wide by about 50 yards deep. And all it was open barrels. And that was the fermentation room. They just wheeled them in there and they left them and let the yeast do its thing. That'd been there for the last couple hundred years.
Yeah, that's awesome. So,
that look for.
What's that? So, Sam, we're going to flip it back to you. Another question that came in. If you didn't own your own brewery, what would be the dream brewery to work for and why?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a real good one. Shit. Well, I love toys and stuff and things. I love to receive gifts. So really, probably the most wealthy brewery in the world would be amazing. I'd love to learn how to do all the science and shit. No, I take that back. When you work in a large brewery, you learn how to control everything. Mm-hmm. It really does come down to control. The larger the brewery, the more important it is to having a consistent controlled product, and that's exciting. That's something that would be really cool. And you have to have resources in order to do that. I don't know that would be the best thing for me. I think I'd probably drift a different direction. If I could work anywhere, it'd probably be Mile Wide. I'd like to work there. They make good IPAs, and they got. If I could work for Kyle Tavares, now that's somebody. Now he knows what's going on. He's well educated. I can assure you, I'm educated from the same school. So I think that'd be a good one. No, in all seriousness, any brewery that would allow me to express myself in not only from the perspective of brewing whatever beers I wanted, but also to be me, to be allowed to laugh and have fun and joke around with the names and have beers. At the end of the day, I do all of this because I love all the people that are involved. I mean, we have a great industry.
Yeah, it's quite a unique family and circle of friends. So I'm going to skip to another question. So since talking about creativity, when you eventually make a beer to commemorate the strange time in the world right now, what style or flavor profile would that be?
It's going to be a hazy IPA. Pretty sure it's going to be a hazy IPA.
Hazy IPA.
New England style or something like that. Murky.
All right. So getting down to the nitty gritty, what non-Kentucky beers are in your fridge right now? When you're not drinking, it's a twofer. When you're not drinking, what other libation is your go-to?
When I'm not drinking beer or Kentucky beer or beer.
So the first question is, what non-Kentucky beers are in your fridge?
Right now, I have a badass beer fridge that has crazy shit in it, and then I have cases of Modelo.
Sam and I were talking before the
With a lime.
we're champions for Modelo.
I love Modelo. I absolutely love it. I would drink it every day. I do almost damn near, honestly. Look at me. No, so I love Modelo. I have some pretty incredible beers from all over the world in my fridge. I have 15-year-old stout that Urban from Destroysa made in my fridge. I have Dark Lord variants that are not like they don't sell them, from the Brewers over at Three Floyds. I have a lot of crazy shit in there, and I drink those occasionally, but if I have like go-to stuff that I'm not drinking, I'll drink Modelo, High Life. If I can get a hold of a case of Dragonfly IPA, I love Upland Beers. I think that's a good brewery. I get a hold of that stuff. Whenever Monic opens their fucking brewery up over in New Albany, I'll go buy some shit from them because I think they're a great brewery. They're really good. So I'll have some Indiana beers, But yeah, I don't know. I have crazy stuff, and then I have stuff that's like just regular old beers. In terms of not beer, guys, I drink margaritas a lot.
Who's got the best margarita in town? This is a highly debated question.
It is. It very much is.
Other than the Public House.
The Public House has the best margarita for $2.
Okay, that's fair. That's
$2.
fair.
Listen, that means something. That's you ground and it's called ground and pound. You ground and pound, right?
All right.
So the Public House has a good one. Oh God, what's it? El Mundo. El Mundo's top shelf margarita is ridiculously good. I mean, It's very good, but you pay for what you get. I hate to say that it costs a lot, and you get a good one, but you don't you get like that much margarita. When I'm drinking margarita, I need that fucking Polar Pop cup. So, yeah, I'm a big gulp. Yeah, that's how it goes. So I drink the shit out of that, and then and I'm proud to say that I have probably bought, I don't know, maybe like 400 bottles of wine from Kroger. I think I've tried every red wine they have.
Nice. So Derek, we'll pop you in there. Being the director of the KGB, what beers outside of Kentucky breweries? What's sneaking?
Oh, I don't drink any of those.
You don't?
No, I can't drink those. No.
Good, Derek. Good job.
I get paid to say that. No, I tend to go Belgian usually for the most part when I do it, just because like that's what set my palate, or kind of Belgian style. I usually have Le Fin du Monde, like that's kind of a regular in my staple. So those are usually the go-tos. But I also have to say is I went to college in Southern Indiana, so Upland is near and dear to my heart. So I think that's kind of usually the ones I kind of gravitate towards. But I'm also a lot like Sam, where people have just been so generous with me and giving me just really random one-off beers from all over. So it just really kind of depends. Right now, my fridge is full, but it's all Kentucky. Though I will admit, hopefully nobody from watching this right now, I do have a 6-pack of High Life Tall Boys in my fridge right now, because some days they just go down like there's nobody's business.
There's nothing wrong with that. You know what? High Life all malt brew.
So, hey, first off, thank you guys for coming up. But just one last question for you, Sam. So your personal professional life has taken you. Beer has taken you here, right? You've been all over the world for beer. All over the country for sure. So what is the most unique experience you've had, in your travels around the world with beer?
Oh, wow.
Or maybe the most memorable.
I'll tell you, I have a lifetime of experiences and opportunities that have been presented to me because of beer. I have seen, all those like Food Network shows and like Travel Channel type shit where you do all that stuff or you watch all that stuff and you see those people doing those things and you're like, yeah, that's cool. Like, but that's like, I've done that because of beer. I've been in Noma. I've been in Italy, in Tuscany, and drank beer with crazy fucking brewers that they barely speak any English. I'm pretty sure I ate a butthole sandwich in Italy. In Tuscany, I had some great wine. I had some great beer, and in a villa. I mean, I've seen some amazing things. The most amazing thing that has ever happened to me because of beer is I met my soulmate.
Aww.
There you go.
No, it's cliche or what? I don't know. But Denise, I met
the screen right now. It's going to crash.
I met the best person for me in the world because of beer, and that's been pretty cool. And because of that, I've also taken her, and she's we've seen the world. We went to Paris, and we've done all kinds of crazy shit for beer. But that's the most amazing. But if we're gonna tell stories, I have some crazy stories, crazy stories. And they're the best Belgian beer, Schoof.
Yeah.
Yes, it's really good.
I love Schoof.
Good stuff. Well, we'll invite everyone to come down to ATG when this is all over and ask you about some stories for sure, because I'm sure you have some good ones. But real quick, just remind us what's open right now for you guys. You're at Public House, Smokehouse, or carry out and curbside.
So right further now, while we're in the world that we live in, our Public House is open from 11 to 8 p.m. every day. We're doing carry out and curbside. We do beer, we do cocktails, and we do burgers and fries, and soon wings. So keep an eye out for that. The Smokehouse is family style barbecue, and it's available 4 to 8 p.m. every day. And I would recommend that everyone go on our website, www.atgbrewery.com, and check it out. We have new menus, and we keep that up to date. In the future, look for new releases. We have 4 beers that we're going to be releasing in the coming weeks that will be packaged up in cans and crowlers. And then beyond that, keep an eye on us because we're movers and shakers. I like to fuck stuff up, so we're going to fuck shit up.
We look forward to it. And then, Derek, just, once again, give us a quick rundown for Saturday. Where do we need to be? Where do we get our tickets? And
Absolutely. So it's real simple. kygbrewers.org is where you can get your tickets. You can log on to our Facebook page from 2 to 6 p.m. I've actually been distracted by Sam's team. They've been emailing me and texting me during this entire time, telling how they are going to take it over during the beer festival. And of course, Katie needs the details, and don't give it to Sam. Let her take care of it.
Hey, I wanted to say this also. I will not be. Jerry is like, I tagged him in. Jerry's taking the wheel. Good luck.
What are you doing to me? What? Why? But anyway, it's a $5 donation. You can see it on our YouTube channel, or you can follow us on Facebook. But really, it's just trying to raise some money for the guild and try and get our minds away from just kind of the craziness that is the world and just focus on community and have a couple of beers together.
Absolutely. Beer will make it better.
Yeah.
Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it, and look forward to having a beer in person very soon.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Take care. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Thank you.